unmute. We're unmuted on YouTube. 2, 1. And I just realized I don't have my... Hello. These things are coming round week after week, faster than I can quite manage. I sort of seem to blink and there's another one. It's the metronome. This is Square's TV Application Lab number 33, which is supposed to be about answering questions and helping you use my apps. But mostly ends up being me talking about what I've been up to, and I do want to change that. But I've been thinking about this, introspecting a bit, and I think the reason is it's hard for me to do tutorials on the existing state of the app, because whenever I go to start talking about it, I see how it could be made easier, so I change the app and then I forget to do the explanations. So I'm constantly either giving explanations I'm not happy with because I know it could be improved, or sort of forcing myself just doing too much coding. Anyway, today we've got a private Zoom and we've got a public YouTube, so both are active. If you have questions, stick your hand up in Zoom and use chat. YouTube, I can stick it on the screen if you do it on the YouTube chat, and I can dial you into the stream on audio if you want to ask it on Zoom, and just let me know if you don't want me to, and I'll just we can do it offline. It's just it's easy. It saves me kind of repeating it for the stream. Weeks. Oh yeah, some big news this week. I got a new microphone arm. Ooh. Because the old one wouldn't stay where I put it. I've got this little video. I've been dealing with this for ages, and it was just sort of it was being really annoying. So I got a nice Elgato one, so I can rotate this to whatever angle I need, rather than just this awkward set of angles. But I did notice that the reason that it wasn't working, I was like, well, if this good arm, I'd plugged into the if you see here, I'd plugged in. So this is where the arm connects, but this is for the pop shield. You're supposed to put the pop shield in here, and then there's another one on the other side, which I had the pop shield over here with the pop shield plugged into, and I was like, why doesn't this thing work properly? And it turns out I am stupid. So I don't know why they made them both have the same adapter. So if you ever have a wobbly white microphone, there you go, tip. Right. Video pencil update. This is on test flight. Some people had some weird flashing stuff happen. You see we've got the nice, beautiful real stroke previews. You see how the width is dynamic as I draw this. That was making some iPads go weird. I haven't rolled it back, but I don't know how to test it. So I guess I just hopefully I get an iPad at some point that it does it on. In the meantime, I've turned it into a opt-in feature within Video Pencil, so it doesn't ruin the whole app if you turn it on. So if you want a better stroke preview like this, as opposed to the one which is drawn in Sprite Kit, which looks more sort of, that kind of seems the same. I think I turned it off. Anyway, there's an option now, so that's in test flight. So let me know if you do install it. Let me know if it's still causing you to have pink iPad screens. Do you know what's weird? I'm looking at the Zoom, but I need to make myself come up on Zoom when I'm doing things. I had a look at the delay calculator this week. I've been trying to figure out, there's a bit of a delay, and I'm sure you can see it now. There's a bit of a delay on the mic output, and it's the mic is taking longer than the video. So that does mean I was fiddling with a delay calculator, which meant that I sort of finally got around to fixing it for longer files, because it used to just not work. And actually, having looked at the code, I'm surprised it worked at all on the short files. But yeah, now the delay calculator it will like just adjust to the length of the file properly. So if you've got like up to 30 seconds, if you've got like a 30-second clip, then it's going to just be really small buttons to click on. I do need to change it so that it's so the delay calculator gives you, you know, the window, and then it gives you the little sort of frame by frame, and then you see the waveform here, and you go, okay, this is my start frame, and then you sort of go into the video until you find the frame where the hands are together, where the sound was made, and basically these little squares are now going to get smaller when it's a longer video. But what I do want to do is make them the same size, but make this have like a scroll bar so you can sort of scroll your way through. But there's complexities to that, and it's not like super urgent for me. So yeah, that's just on squares.tv/delay calculator. So, you know, you may notice that change. Also, as always, if you do notice that it's broken now, please let me know. It should be fine. I have some Beatsheet Studio updates. I spent some time last week getting better at doing camera extensions. The main thing that I didn't know how to do, so Beatsheet Studio sits here, and then the camera extension is like a separate process that macOS runs. The old kinds, it would, if you had a third-party camera, it would just run that camera's code directly in your app, and then if that third-party code crashed or started stealing your information, they couldn't stop it. So they want you to do this like system extension thing now instead. So that's what Beatsheet Studio does, which is why it works in FaceTime and QuickTime. But I hadn't quite got the hang of kind of communicating state between the two. It's just like, this is just sending frames to it. But I figured out last week how to like talk between the two properly rather than just pushing a stream out. So what it means is I can find out how many people are connected to that. So if nothing is actually using the webcam stream, I just shut off the audio and the video output from Beatsheet Studio so that you get like better CPU usage when you're just trying to write. So what that looks like is, if I can show you here, so this is what I'm doing here is, so in the bottom down here is Beatsheet Studio, and by toggling the camera, it's disabling and re-enabling the webcam output. So you can see with the camera on, it's kind of around 38% CPU, and then as soon as I turn off the camera, it goes down like much lower. So you see we're down like 15-16%. So this is just like a bit of a quality. So whenever the camera's on, a bit higher, and then when I turn it off, it sort of comes back down again, and you can see the graph. So that's off, that's on, you know. So oh, that was actually, yeah, that's the process. You see, like, so what I really liked about this was this is the webcam process, and when it's not getting anything now, it's got a nice 0% running in the background, and then when it is getting some data from Beatsheet Studio, it's back up to 3%. So it's sort of, I'm quite pleased with that as a little optimization to sort of make sure that I'm not unnecessarily churning GPU and CPU resources when you just want to write. Because one of the things I want with Beatsheet Studio is that it's just like you can take your notes in it without, you know, worrying about, you know, it's a note-taking app as much as it is a video app, and I don't want the video stuff to be so heavy that you don't want to launch it just to take some notes. So that was the reason behind that. Another thing is the teleprompter is now resizable horizontally. People have been asking for this. Is there a good way to demonstrate this? I'm not sure. Basically, you can now maybe I'll just share my Beatsheet Studio window. Let's see what happens. Share Windows, Beatsheet. Am I excluding myself from this option? Okay, I'll share my desktop. It's a bit messy on there. I'm going to share my messy desktop. So you can see if we have our teleprompter, we can now, if I go on to yeah, basically you can grab to the edge and you can resize it. I guess yeah, you're just gonna have to believe me, I think. But that's fine. but that's obviously that's in BeatSheet Studio Beta, which I have not released one for a couple of weeks. I'm just trying to get some stuff. So this is sort of like, hey, you're going to get this soon. And then I tried to deploy BeatSheet today, and my build is being really awkward. So I need to do some stuff. But hopefully in the next couple of days, I'm hoping like today to sort that out. I don't know. I mean, I definitely made it work, but it doesn't seem to want to let me do it. So I don't know what's going on there. Fun. Right. And then just something else I've been working on is the video playback in BeatSheet Studio. So it was playing them rotated 90 degrees sometimes. It was stretching them. It was doing some weird stuff. So there's actually two different videos. I'm just like telling you some stuff I worked on. But if the video, there's two cases, it turns out. So if you drag in a file, I'm showing you the original file until you save the document, and then I show you the embedded file, because I need like a permanent URL to do video playback. But it means that if you bring in the original file, it might be like a really big, if it's a portrait mode file, it might be like a really big video, right, that comes in like that. So this is you, and then it's got like metadata that tells you you've got to like rotate it 90 degrees. Whereas once it's saved, I actually do like an encode step, so it's always going to be the right aspect ratio. But in that case, when it was showing it, it would just show it really wide. So the encoding stage does apply the transformations. But so you'll see you were likely to see some very inconsistent behaviors there. And then, of course, the way it works under the hood as well is it's sort of creating a plane which has like 1, 1, 0, 0. So I've got to do some extra fun stuff to try and figure out the coordinate system so that it actually kind of goes in the middle. For those who are perverted enough to be interested, this is what it ends up looking like. So there's we've got to sort of respect the aspect ratio. We've got to apply the preferred transform, which is that metadata. So if it comes with data, so we apply that first. We apply that to the right size. It's only needed for the unconverted files. We figure out the aspect ratio. We take the unit width. So like it's 1 by 0.5 or 0.5 by 1, depending on the aspect ratio. Then we take the preferred transform. We resize that to the viewport size, we invert that transformation, we scale it, and then we translate it by this unit width. And then we finally, is there another final step? Yeah. So just pretty headache-inducing stuff just to get those videos to look right. Something you will never notice because the video looks like how it looks on your screen. Just letting you know, behind the scenes, sometimes those things are very complicated. Right. Another thing is when you click on a card, and you can now click the drop zones. Well, you will be able to when you get this update, and select a file, so you don't always have to like drag it in. And that was thanks to Humberto, who was doing a little bit of interning with me. So that was a good contribution from him. It even does a nice animation after you select the file as it transitions into the progress view state. Other stuff, the website. I spent some time on the website last week, and I did share that out on Discord for a bit of feedback, to show you that. Shall I show you that? Let's go 127.40.40. I'm going to get my local host. I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to just do walk through. I'm going to actually like share this window, I think, using the power of BeatSheet Studio. I'm going to go share window, BeatSheet Studio. So here is, so this is, when you click Start Tour, plan and run presentations directly through your webcam. You build a stack of smart cue cards. So I'm just going to turn that down a bit. Through your talk, you can automatically bring in your desktop or open up a website or bring in a second camera. So it sort of talks and then it says, I'm using the app right now to record this. I thought it would be quite cool on the website to have my cue cards show up as this video plays, so you can see them coming in over here if you're on desktop or down here if you're on mobile. So that was one of those things. So it's sort of like syncing in these cards and showing you these example cards as you go. So as we come in, and then something else I did was like, you've got the cards, comes in, shows you a slide. And I showed that, yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to show you the layout. I made the little pop-up box come in as well. Let's see. Yeah, so I'll show the little cards come up as well. So I thought like this was quite cool. It was quite hard to get it, so it also works on vertical video. So as we come through, it's doing this, showing you what it looks like. It was quite cool to like have to do that because it made me sort of refine the user interface a little bit. So where we've got these, you know, these cards are now tidied up, so it sort of tells you what it's going to connect to down there in a slightly neater way. Let's see. So that's some progress on the website, and then the other thing with all this was I've made it so. So you've got the BeatSheet Studio website. This is, you do your purchasing, spend your money, you get your license or your team's licenses, and then BeatSheet on the desktop can now receive an encrypted payload, not an encrypted, but a signed payload saying, okay, you have a valid license, which, you know, this status expires in like 2 days, and you're just going to have to make sure you're online in that time. And then that activates the features within BeatSheet Studio, and then as soon as Video Pencil or Shoot connect, it sends that same signed payload to those. So this is pink is the payload. So basically and then these have the public key on them, public key. So I'm sort of like proxying through the payload, saying what your subscription status is onto those. And what that means is when you've got a BeatSheet Studio license, you can use all the features of Video Pencil and Shoot while they're connected. So that was sort of the last major piece of the puzzle. For me, last week, I was like, I'm actually feeling. I did a load of bug fixes on Friday as well, and I'm starting to feel like I think we're actually getting there. Audio sync notwithstanding, I'm not super happy with this audio sync at the moment, but it's like it's not a showstopper. But the thing that I was like, oh, what's left? We need to do this this connection, proxying through the things, because I need to release a version of Shoot and Video Pencil that can support that. So that's actually done as of today. So I can put those out to the App Store and know that when I release BeatSheet Studio, the version of Shoot or Video Pencil on your iPad will just connect automatically. So that's sort of something, sort of some latent properties of those apps are now enabled. So that was like the last big piece of the puzzle, except for I had a conversation with the Johns, and they were asking how wedded I was to the name. So this is where we come to the title of today's session. Do I want to rename BeatSheet Studio? Now, what's wrong with the name BeatSheet Studio? Well, let's have a quick look. The problems with it are, it does tend to require a bit of explanation. Beat sheet. Do people know what a beat sheet is? No. Studio. I love the word studio, but you know, and Apple used it. But I love the word studio. I liked the idea of it being in there, but it's tricky. It's not immediate. It's not self-explanatory. There's also, it's not the same as beat sheet. And I've ended up having to make this whole web page, which is like, don't expect BeatSheet to do this. This is a different app. Look, and here's how it's different. It's like, okay, if it's a different app, it should probably be called something different. Even though it does incorporate the BeatSheet, actually probably like its focus is that it's a camera. The other thing is it's quite long, 3 words. I mean, they're good words, but you know, it's still a bit on the long side maybe. Yeah, not very descriptive. And live titles can't frickin' do it. Like beat sheet, you know, beat sheet, peachy, beat sheet, peachy, beat sheet, beat sheet, beat sheet, like beat sheet, like it just can't do it. So I can make it do it. Beat sheet, right? Like I can make it do it, but it's a struggle. And it's just one of those little things, isn't it? It's like, okay, that must mean something. But the pros. Wait, what? Okay, pros. I think it's cool. I like it. I've been making videos about it. It's like called this. It's sort of nearly ready to go with this name, and renaming things is really hard. I've got the domain. Rob Rusher has been making videos about it as well, so I've got all these assets that I'm going to have to like fiddle with or change titles or cut around whenever we say the app name. We've got like quite a few sort of little handy demos that I've been doing with Rob Rusher. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, sunk cost fallacy or something else. Could be just sunk cost fallacy. You never know with these things. But anyway, I thought I'd have a look into it. So here is, and yeah, as I say, pros, I can release it quicker if I don't change the name. So I've been having a think anyway. So what I was thinking is like, I would like to position this alongside apps like Keynote, PowerPoint, Google Present, Google Docs, and streaming apps like OBS, Ecamm Live, Mimo, Wirecast. And so I was just thinking of words, like I think it's immersive. I like that immerse thing. I think doc, cam beats camera. I think camera is something that, if it was in there, would sort of tell a lot of the story. Dissolve the barriers, reduce the distance, remote something, show and tell, something direct, something. It's like a direct connection. It's like I'm right here. I'm not like behind a deck. I'm just sharing my screen. We're presenting, we're producing a live stream. We're reducing barriers. Is it about structuring a conversation? Is it about is it demo studio? Like, do I just say it's for demos, or do I say it's for teaching? Like, it's a teaching app, or like remote show, teach cam. And then I'm looking like Flow Studio. Okay, well that exists already. Anyway, I thought like everything camera could be sort of interesting. Share camera, beat sheet camera, like even. And I was thinking about firesides, and I did go over for some sort of synonyms from the robots. Is it for workshops? Plain camera, lucid, fire hose. You can do clinics. You can do forums. I quite like, one of its main features is that you're getting cues. So cue cards, beat sheets are made of cue cards. So maybe focus on the cues. And then cue is quite a good word because it implies like cue, you can cue a video clip, or you can get a cue of what you've got to say next. It's like actually a really good word for what this does. So I thought like cue card camera. You can get this .camera domain, top level domain as well, so something .camera is available. Keynote, like just make it sound like keynote, but I don't think that really tells you. I like the word deck. Flash cards, cue videos, cue shares, cue studio. Can't get cue.camera. Vision suite. Like I was thinking, like in terms of like a like, the CEO that wants to do the big sort of like inspiring stuff. Like, are we talking about like, this is for promoting your vision across the kind of showing the vision of something? Or is it like a video toolkit, live call kit, remote kit? Is it thought organizer, think deck? Tutocam I thought was like interesting, like also like tutto in Italian is everything. I was thinking maybe an Italian word could be good, like tutto, that's with two T's in Italian, but I thought like tutto sounds like tutorial, tutor, tutocam, like maybe that's something. Free present, free something, dissolving bound, every cam, like subito or something. Bringing your shine, bringing like your A game and being charming. Omni camera, like there was Omni outliner, I suppose is already sort of probably trademarked, but like a camera that you can show anything, like on cue. That's not available. Note studio. I thought Pronto camera like I'm ready, now I'm ready. You're being ready when you go on camera, pronto, like using that. But then I found that like pronto is already used for pronto team communication. And and then I was sort of like, I went, what else do we, total camera, total studio, clean studio, B note, U note, ready note. What about just a random number, 9 cam? Like, that's memorable. I don't know what it means. And then I was looking at, it's the meanings of the word. Come on. Why is this so blurry? My image is super blurry for some reason. It hasn't synced from the iPad. There was some, what does pronto mean? Because it also means like intelligente. How do you say that in Italian? It just, it meant some good things, but it was taken. And then, I went for a walk, and I was like, remember, like, what should, like, what is this? What does this do? Just say what it does. What does this app do? It's an app that lets you present on your webcam. I mean, so, like, is that the name? Like, is it just like webcam presenter? Is that the name of this app? Which sort of hurts my heart a little bit. Are you seeing this? Yes, you're seeing it. It sort of hurts my heart a bit because it's so boring. But it tells you it's for presenting on your webcam, and suddenly I'm using the name to tell people what it does, which is a huge win. Especially like I don't have the budget to build a brand from scratch. Like I don't have VC funding that we're going to like spam everywhere and tell you it's called Monday and it does this. It's just the name tells you what it does when you see it in a list of things, and that's a much better way to do it, especially as an indie. But this is. Anyway, I've bought webcampresenter.com. It was cheap, but I don't know. I wanted to put it out. I wanted to see what people, what thoughts people had around naming possibilities. People, ideally, less so than I don't really care that much what the robots think it should be called, or how they react to it. I kind of care how. If you're trying to tell someone about this app and it's called Beat Sheet Studio, do you spend the first 5 minutes explaining what that means? If you went to them and said, "Oh, it's called Webcam Presenter," then would you be able to in the elevator pitch? Would you be able to get moving much quicker? This is what I'm trying to understand. Really, this is the goal. Something that we can immediately, hit the ground running in a conversation about it. But I think it ideally needs to explain what it is. But it would be cool if it was a bit shorter, without being confusing. Camzent. Cam. I don't like capital letters in the middle of words. So present cam, present cam, show cam. It's like you start to sort of disappear up your own arse a little bit with coming up with names, and I feel like the clearer the better. So YouTube and Zoom, please let me know. Is this should I just keep it what it's called, or should I take this opportunity before launch to give it a name that might last a bit longer? I am interested to hear thoughts either during this session or in the comments after the fact. And I guess I'll make a decision on Monday and then just rename it if it's got to be renamed, and try not to cry. So yeah, I don't see a lot of movement on the chat. Let me see if there's anything on here. Oh, I'm not hearing things. So Q Studio, that struck me as a great name. It says M Pottertube. Having gone through this, I'm going to put this up. Having gone through this several times myself, I really appreciate hearing your process and the reasoning for rejecting some ideas in favour of others. Thanks, M. Potter. It's yeah, I know, it's naming things, and it's one of those things that I was just blind to, and so when it was brought up I was like, oh yeah, that is a variable, and now's probably the last chance. So we'll just call it, Bought Short. I think that's the best name we could possibly come up with. Right. I'm just moving something so that I'm not obscuring my titles and I can be more confident. Look, let me just make sure I'm seeing this. Okay, here's some numbers. They're a bit depressing. Again, well, actually, it's all right because, you know, because of my, because thanks to John getting easy VJ, could have been a lot worse. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just going to tell you, we did get the bugs down, so that was nice. But I mean, this is like, considering I'm not really doing anything on Shoot or Video Pencil, could be worse. But like, we need to get this new app out, and so that I can focus on. I think it's going to be a heavy process on focus on like sharing stuff that exists rather than making new things for a bit. As much the trouble is, like, as soon as I start promoting things, everyone asks for features, and that's how people talk to me about what they want from apps, and so the conversation always seems to be about features. So even though it's sort of quite hard, I think, for users to accept a lack of new features as much as it is for me. Look, I think that's me for today. Next week, I haven't written down any notes for this. How is everyone? Why am I so low contrast? I'm in logarithmic, and I've got a LUT that was specially made based on this, and for some reason today it seems really pale. So maybe it's a bug in BeatSheet Studio with applying the LUTs. Who knows? Yeah, this next week, I need to be feature. I need everything to, like, I still have to make it assign the licenses after they've been purchased, and I need to make it actually like use the production stuff, and then I need to make BeatSheet Studio sort of find the licenses, and I need a mechanism for giving everyone that's on the beta tester group temporary license. So I think that's my goal for Monday. Get BeatSheet Studio migrated over, get a new build out, which is now sort of has to be connected to the server. Will that have a new name? Not quite yet. I mean, on my desktop, I'm getting used to the it's saying Presenter, although it seems to be saying BeatSheet Studio for me. If you like hearing about this sort of thing, or you want to get involved and you're not part of the Zoom and you're not part of the live session, there is a Discord as well as the chat under here. There is a Discord at squares.tv/Discord where you can ask questions, get help from me, get help from other people while I'm asleep, which happens because I'm in the UK and most people are in the US that are using this stuff. I think that's me for today. So I shall sign off, and I sort of lamenting the one-way feeling of this conversation recently. I never really. Maybe I need like a Q&A workflow of some sort, so I can sort of like do a bit more of an office hours style, work through some questions, because I really feel like if it's just me coming to this, I'm going to talk about what I just did, and I'm not going to be facing the issues you're facing as users of the stuff. So I want this to be useful to you as users, and less me broadcasting how much work I've been doing. Yeah, if anyone's got any thoughts on how I could manage that, or like there is like potentially an office hours related thing, but I don't know how to do it, or I just like copy in the emails that I've been sent each week. Thanks everyone for giving me your very valuable attention. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you at the next one, which will be the next time after I blink and open my eyes. Cheers, everyone. It's showing my face still. That was weird. I'm going to come back. I literally made sure that it was on don't do picture in picture. Okay. Bye.